In a world where distractions scream louder than conviction, where comfort numbs the soul, the question echoes in eternity: do you truly love God above all else? Not just admire Him, not just believe in Him, but love Him more than your job, more than your comfort, more than your family, more than yourself. This is not a poetic inquiry. It is the dividing line between the saved and the lost. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Matthew 10:37. You can't serve two thrones, one must fall. This is a call, not for the religious, but for the surrendered. Jesus never came to affirm our comfort zones. He said, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Matthew 10:34. A sword that cuts through idols. A sword that divides what we love from what we worship. If your loyalty is diluted, your faith is weak. Real faith costs. Real love sacrifices. This message is not about adding God to your life, it's about giving Him the throne. Ask yourself now, if God asked you to give it all, a pure job, your relationship, your plans, would you hesitate? Would you negotiate? He doesn't compete for second place. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. Matthew 22:37. Not some, not most, all. Totality is the language of heaven. Anything less is rebellion dressed in religion. From August 15th to September 29th, you're being invited to something radical. 40 days of sacrifice, 40 days of waking at 4 a.m., 40 days of prayer, of war, in the spirit, of putting God first while the world sleeps. This isn't about discipline alone, it's about fire. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Matthew 6:33. When you honor God first, heaven moves. Yes, you have responsibilities. Yes, you're tired. But sacrifice isn't about convenience, it's about priority. The same God who gave breath to your lungs can give strength to your body. Your part is to choose. God's part is to empower. You're not alone in this. You're called. And when the called respond with faith, miracles happen. He who loses his life for my sake will find it. Matthew 10:39. What you give up for God, He returns multiplied with eternal reward. Heaven doesn't respond to half-hearted prayers or lukewarm hearts. God is not interested in being part of your schedule. He wants to own it. These 40 days are not about religious routine. They are a declaration of war against spiritual apathy. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. James 4:8. When you choose to seek Him first, you invite Him to reign over everything else. Do not be fooled. Following Jesus has a cost. He never promised comfort, but He did promise reward. No one who has left home or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for me and the gospel will fail to receive 100 times as much in this present age. Mark 10:29-30. The question is not what you will lose, but what you are willing to lose to gain what matters most. True love is proven in sacrifice. That's why the cross is the greatest proof of love ever displayed. And now, the Lord looks at you and asks, will you carry your cross? Will you follow when it hurts? Will you love me above everything? Whoever does not take up their cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Matthew 10:38. The cross isn't symbolic. It's personal. It's your daily altar. Look around. The world is louder, busier, more restless than ever, but God is not found in the noise. He's found in the sacrifice of stillness, in the surrender of early mornings, in the obedience that no one else sees. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Matthew 6:6. These 40 days are not public religion, they are private fire. What would your life look like if God were truly first? What decisions would change? What priorities would shift? What idols would be crushed? This is your moment to find out. Not by emotion, but by commitment, by waking up, by showing up, by giving God the first breath of your day. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37, Banding, Lima. What begins in obedience ends in transformation. You say you love God, but love is not in what we sits in, what we choose. When your alarm goes off at 4 a.m. and you choose Him over sleep, that is love. When you shut down distractions to lift your soul in prayer, that is love. Let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. 1 John 3:18. The measure of your love is not your feeling, it is your sacrifice. This is not legalism, it's longing. A heart that truly burns for God doesn't wait for convenience. It creates space. It fights to be with him. The early church didn't just believe. They broke themselves open for the presence of God. That same fire is being offered to you now. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Jeremiah 29:13. The key is all not part. Maybe you've tried before and failed. Maybe you think you're too weak, but God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. He sees your desire, and if you move in faith, He will meet you in power. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 9. You don't need to be strong, you just need to start. During these 40 days, something will die and something will live. Your flesh will resist, your comfort will scream, but your spirit will rise. This is what it means to walk the narrow road. Enter through the narrow gate. Small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Matthew 7:13-14. Be one of the few. Let your life preach louder than your lips. The sword Jesus brings is not against others, it's against compromise. It slices through false priorities and exposes who really sits on the throne of your heart. This journey is not for the casual believer. It's for those who dare to say, Lord, I will love you more than anything. And when that happens, chains break, families change, legacies shift. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Joshua 2:4-15. There is no such thing as a neutral heart. If God is not first, something else is. And whatever you place above him will ultimately become your master. This is why Jesus was clear. No one can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and money. Matthew 6:24. The throne of your life is not shared real estate. Either Christ reigns or idols rule. You're not just waking up early for prayer. You're making a prophetic statement. God comes first in my life. And every time you do, your soul grows stronger, your mind clearer, your spirit sharper. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:30. The world drains you. His presence lifts you. People will question your choice. Some will mock it. Even loved ones may not understand. But remember, Jesus warned us, a man's enemies will be the members of his own household. Matthew 10:36. Don't seek approval, seek obedience. The reward is not found in applause, but in alignment. When you put God first, you stop living for people's opinions and start living for His will. The journey of faith is not walked in comfort, it's walked in fire that purifies, fire that refines. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. Malachi 3:2-3. These 40 days are not a religious act, they're a furnace. And out of that furnace, the old you burns away, and the real you, the one God created, rises in holy purpose. Now is the time, not next year, not when life gets easier, not when you feel ready. Now, heaven moves on decisions, not delays. Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. You've been called into something eternal. Don't postpone what could transform your life forever. The clock is ticking, but eternity is waiting. Stop playing with eternity. This is not about becoming a better version of yourself. This is about dying to the old version of you that loves comfort more than obedience. The cross is not a symbol for decoration, it's the place where your will must bleed. I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. Galatians 2:20. That's the standard. Until your will breaks before His, you're still negotiating with the King. You say you're busy, but what if your busyness is a spiritual trap? What if the enemy doesn't need to make you sin, just keep you distracted? These 40 days are not about doing more, they're about making space for what matters most. Be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Your calendar won't save you, your schedule won't sanctify you, but surrender will. Choose the altar over the algorithm. Let this be the generation that doesn't just attend church, but burns for the living God. Let your life be the evidence of radical obedience. The eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to Him. 2 Chronicles 16:9. If you feel the pull to go deeper, it's not emotion, it's invitation. The Spirit of God is calling you into the fire of consecration. The first thing you sacrifice in these 40 days is control. You are not in charge anymore. This fast, this prayer, this pursuit is not a side project. It's a surrender of your plans, your desires, your clock. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight. Proverbs 3-6. Obedience is not always easy, but disobedience is always costly. Give God the wheel. Let Him lead. The spirit of the age says, protect your peace. Jesus says, carry your cross. The world says, follow your heart. The word says, deny yourself. You can't live both truths. You must choose comfort or Christ. One leads to death, dressed as success. The other leads to life through surrender. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. Luke 9:23. Choose the narrow road. That this is not motivation, it's war. War against the complacency that numbs your spirit. War against the excuses that keep you bound. War against the idols you refuse to call idols. You can't cast out what you still cuddle. If Jesus doesn't sit on the throne of your desires will destroy you. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? Jeremiah 7:9. You don't need self-help. You need death to self. These 40 days are a battleground where flesh dies and spirit lives. Hell is not afraid of a believer who prays when convenient. Hell trembles at the one who wakes before the world, drops to their knees, and declares, God, you come first. This is how legacies shift. This is how chains break, not with volume, but with consistency. The effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. James 5:16. These 40 mornings are not just about your life, they're about your lineage. Your obedience today writes freedom into your children's tomorrow. Some of you have been asking God for a breakthrough, yet God has been asking you for obedience. He won't pour new wine into old wineskins. He won't release what you can't yet carry. To whom much is given, much will be required. Luke 12:48. This is not punishment, it's preparation. These 40 days will cost you sleep, energy, convenience, but what you gain cannot be measured. Fire, clarity, direction, miracles, and most of all, intimacy with the King. That's the reward of first love. Don't approach these 40 days like a religious habit. Approach them like a covenant, a sacred vow between your soul and the Almighty, a holy offering that says, you are worthy of my best. Offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Romans 12:1. Heaven doesn't respond to hype, it responds to humility, to brokenness, to those who rise not for ritual, but for relationship. That's where God moves. That's where lives shift. Look around you. This is not a generation lacking information, it's a generation starving for transformation. You don't need another sermon, you need surrender. You don't need more Christian content, you need consecration. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. James 1:22. These 40 days are not about learning more, they are about becoming different. And it begins with a simple, defiant yes to God every morning, every moment, no matter the cost. Revival won't come through the crowds. It begins in the secret place. It begins with one man, one woman, one teenager who says, I will not live one more day without putting God first. Your private hunger becomes public fire. When you seek me with all your heart, I will be found by you. Jeremiah 29. 13 sampai 14. These 40 days are your upper room. What you do in the dark will set others free in the light. Your yes will echo into eternity. When Jesus called his disciples, he didn't ask for comfort. He asked for everything. And they left boats, nets, jobs, reputations, because when the King calls, nothing else matters. Immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. Matthew 4:22. These 40 days are a mirror. Will you follow immediately or keep negotiating? Delayed obedience is still disobedience. And every day you delay is a day you forfeit divine alignment. You are not born to blend in. You were born to burn. You were not made for shallow living. You were made to shake generations. These 40 days are a reset, a return to your first love, a rebuke of passivity, a resurrection of purpose. Wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. You are not too far, you are not too late, but you must wake up, now, not tomorrow, now. Mark your calendar, but more than that, mark your heart. August 15th to September 29th is not a day TTZ door, a spiritual portal into deeper obedience, fire-forged identity, and heaven-breathed clarity. Today is the day of salvation. To Corichas 6:2. What God wants to do in your life cannot be microwaved. It must be marinated in prayer, soaked in hunger, sealed in surrender. These 40 days could break what 40 years of effort could never change. Now is the moment. Choose Him, not with your mouth but with your mornings, your motives, your everything. Don't scroll past this. Don't click away. Don't postpone the fire. These 40 days are a divine invitation into transformation. Don't say try say, here I am. Say, God, I want to love you above all. And when you do, He will answer. Return to me, and I will return to you. Malachi 3-7. This is not just a challenge, it's a call to the altar. Let your yes shake heaven. You've heard the call, you felt the fire. Now you choose, not tomorrow, not someday, now. From August 15th to September 29th, God is not asking for your leftovers. He's asking for your first breath, your first thought, your first love. This isn't just a challenge. It's a line in the sand. Who will you serve? What will you bow to? Join the 40 days of fire. Wake up at 4 a.m. Pray, worship, fight. Because when you put God first, He sets your entire life in order. Comment below, I want to love God above all, and send this to someone whose destiny is waiting on the other side of surrender. Let's rise, let's burn, let's give God our everything. I'll see you at 4 a.m.